Our media products consist of a film promotion package, including a film trailer, poster and magazine cover. The purpose of a theatrical film trailer is to advertise the film in the cinema, as well as on a variety of different platforms, including TV, internet and radio. Audiences would typically want to see the films for the following reasons, such as liking the film genre, they heard of or know of the director and the actors in the film. Relating back to our trailer being theatrical, in order for it to fulfil its purpose, our trailer would have to be mainly shown at the cinema just before the film that the people are wishing to see starts. Having upcoming film trailers shown at the beginning, for me, starts up the word of mouth about the film that interests the audience weeks and months later. When that film starts up its advertising campaign, that person will probably see that film that they first saw in the cinema, but at various public places or even on TV. This would then remind them about the film in which they would go and see. Also, in terms of showing our trailer on TV, a condensed version of our trailer will be shown during a TV advertising break, which the trailer we have produced comes under the genre of post-apocalyptic films. Typically, the post-apocalyptic genre falls under the apocalypse being caused. This tends to be an unexpected plague, nuclear war, or even an extraterrestrial invasion. The genre is also a hybrid genre with elements of sci-fi, horror and thriller being present. For our film, we decided to have the cause to be a virus, because there are a lot of films which have been released from which we can take inspiration from. For example, 28 Days Later and I Am Legend. The effect of the apocalypse can be shown immediately after the cause. This tends to focus on the travels and how the characters survive. For example, in our film trailer, the voiceover focuses on how the characters try to survive and the fact that they are hoping to find other life in order to get out of the apocalypse, along with the majority of the shots consisting of long/wide shots which show the characters on their travels. This can also relate to the Western genre in terms of the characters being lone travellers. Constructional trailer consisted of writing a treatment of the whole film and then picking out the best scenes to put in our trailer. We decided to have some of the characters walking in empty places after the apocalypse to show that something isn't right. Also, we chose to have some of the scenes of the main character at college just after the apocalypse had happened, as the voiceover is from the main character's point of view. Another thing that was considered was what dramatic scenes we could include to build up the pace of the trailer. Scenes like the knife scene and the characters running were we thought would be good to use. The settings that usually feature in post-apocalyptic films include deserted public places such as a rundown cafe. Another typical setting that features in this genre includes empty streets, roads, woods and vast empty green spaces. These are all present during our trailer, such as we used Wild Park, which also had a cafe which looked old and run down. During my research I looked at what classification rating our film would come under using the BBFC website. In the end, I decided that it would be suitable for our film to be rated 15, mainly because our intended target audience is 15 to 24-year-olds. The subcategories of the rating were also taken into account. For example, if we look at the horror part of the classification, it states that strong threat and menace are permitted unless sadistic or sexualized. Because our film is post-apocalyptic, there will be an element of horror, especially through the mise-en-scène and the characters. The language used in the film will be typical of teenagers, so there may be frequent use of strong language. There will be no nudity in the film, so this part of the classification is irrelevant. One of the last things I picked up on while looking at the classification was the violence in our film. It doesn't majorly dwell on the infliction of pain or injury, as we want our film to focus on each character's survival and journey. Throughout the trailer we have used a voiceover. If I go back to the typical conventions, a voiceover intends to give background information and introduce a narrative. Our trailer follows this because the main character is telling the audience where the apocalypse is set and when. In this case, the film is set in 2013 and is based around college students being left behind in the apocalypse. The tone of the voiceover is another key which is vital in the trailer. The voiceover is in a sad, miserable tone, which depicts the darkness and the fact that little hope is left. As well as this, it anticipates what is to come if the audience go and see the film. The camera shots also add to the voiceover. The long and wide shots of the main character contribute towards it, such as when the voiceover mentions, "I was the only one left." We get a long/wide shot of the main character, as well as close-ups to show his emotion due to the apocalypse. This is vital because close-ups typically show characters' expressions and emotions. This is important in the genre because the audience can then sense and see what is about to happen. Music and visual elements also contribute alongside the voiceover. The music typically builds up as the trailer progresses. The music we use in our trailer progresses by using the drum beats regularly and eventually speeding up towards the end, which also goes with the voiceover and the camera shots and angles as well as building up the suspense. This was found on Incompetech.com and is copyright free. This handheld shot which we use in our film trailer gives an unsettling feeling to show something is happening. For example, when the characters are running away from a threat, intertitles we have used typically appear in a theatrical film trailer, such as the reviews from magazines and newspapers, and we had an award nomination for which I suggested for it to be a Saturn Award because in my research I found out that most post-apocalyptic films were nominated for this. We also added coming to cinemas because we wanted our trailer to be theatrical. Another theatrical trailer convention we kept to was having the film titles appear at the end. With our trailer, we also constructed a poster and magazine cover. To help us do this, we all first researched a magazine individually, mainly using the readership figures. Eventually, we decided which magazine we thought would be best to advertise our film. We chose Little White Lies because it is aimed at a younger audience in both genders. They feature mostly independent films. Also, the front cover has an artistic edge which can be aimed at young artistic people as well as them being into film. This relates to our film distribution plan because we stated that we are aiming our film at 15 to 24-year-olds. For the front cover and the poster, we all thought it would be best to use the main characters as our unique selling point because they appear throughout the trailer fairly regularly. Constructing the film poster consisted of researching previous post-apocalyptic film posters. From the research, I found out all of the post-apocalyptic film posters I've looked at used one or two people walking alone or struggling in the environment they are in. For example, in the Postman film poster, the mise-en-scène consists of a desert. This adds to the struggle Kevin Costner's character is going through. The belongings he is carrying shows us the weight he is adding to as well as walking in extreme conditions. Another example would be the two main characters in the road poster. Using the rain effect and the dark background along with the supplies they have shows us the post-apocalyptic world they are struggling in. Mid and long shots, as well as close-ups, show us the characters' body language, facial expression, and their clothing. Having the main characters/actors in the poster gives most films its main USP. The way the characters look is important. The clothing the actors are wearing looks dirty and ripped, as well as their face also being dirty, to show the journey they are going through in the post-apocalyptic world. For our film, this is also important. Unfortunately, we didn't focus on this massively. Most of the film titles are at the bottom of the page. This isn't the case for the 28 Days Later poster, which features in the centre of the poster. Also, taglines are mainly used in post-apocalyptic posters to give the audience a sense of what the genre of the film is. For example, Infection would be associated with thriller and horror, as well as post-apocalyptic films. Sometimes taglines don't feature in film posters. For example, the Children of Men poster. Using all of this research helped me to create the film poster. I decided to use the director as a main unique selling point, as well as using the main three characters. I made sure that the film title was clearly seen from a distance. Using white makes this eye-catching. The font 28 Days Later I found on dafont.com. Because it was based on the film, we all thought it would be good to use. The date is also important to include, as this informs the audience when to go to see the film if they are interested. Putting the date below the film title is typically used in constructing film posters. I also added the film credits and the production company, in which we decided it to be a company Jack had made up himself. Lastly, I darkened the image slightly and added in some grunge texture to give the effect of the genre, as well as depicting the mood and the feel of the film.